Nova Guest List Podcast
with Kieran McGuinness.
The very best in indie, alternative and homegrown music from the seriously addictive Radio Nova.
Yeah, that was the brilliant Jape that is lashing through the minutes on Radio Nova from his most recent album, Endless Thread, a year or two ago. And we're very, very lucky because we have Richie from Jape on the line. How you doing, Richie?
How you doing, Kieran? How's it going, man? Thanks for having me along.
No, it's great to chat to you. You're part of this brilliant new festival we're going to chat about. HIBERNACLE is a new festival, an intimate 3-day event in a place called Orla House in Rathfarnham, and it's on July 4th, 5th and 6th this summer. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. A kind of gorgeous venue, just really close to the city, so really excited to hear that. And you're going to be one of the brilliant acts playing at it. Can you tell us a little bit about the festival?
It seems like like you just said, it seems like it's in a really beautiful sort of environs, and it's a lot of cool sound heads put together by Una Malloy and the HIBERNACLE crew, who sort of put on I think it's an amazing 3-day lineup of Irish acts. And she asked me to play on the Friday night supporting Pillow Queens with Alda Reddy, so I was delighted to be asked and delighted to play.
Yeah. For me, being an Irish music nerd, it's an unbelievable lineup. Pillow Queens, Ye Vagabonds, Lisa Hannigan, Wallace Bird, yourself, Alva Reddy, tons of amazing acts, and another amazing Irish act that hasn't been announced yet.
A really good special guest, which I'm obviously not allowed to mention, but I think people will be very happy.
I think, yeah, one of the most brilliant Irish musicians and artists and all the rest still to be announced, which is amazing. But so what are you doing at the moment? This is comes in between albums for you. So your last album, Endless Thread, absolutely brilliant album, one of our albums of the year that year here on the guest list. But presumably some music ahead. So you're in this kind of writing process or the preparing process at the moment. How's your head doing?
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to keep the head above water, you know what I mean? So I'm doing lots of different things. I'm making new music. I'm working a little bit on some cartoon music-y things, and I'm making some sample packs. And I just think that for an independent artist such as myself, you've just got to keep as busy as possible and try to kind of like find as many ways of making music that can kind of maybe generate income for you, you know, to survive. So I've just been trying to, this year, try loads of different things, and it's been working out pretty okay, I have to say. So I have this saying that I've been thinking a lot, is that I'd rather eat a sandwich I make than beg for somebody else's steak.
Yeah,
and
okay.
That's kind of what, so I've been making a lot of sandwiches basically this year.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a funny kind of time, and you know, the post-Spotify era or whatever you want to call it. I'm in the process of writing tracks, and I don't really know whether it's going to be an album or EPs or just loads of songs released. And then I had this mad idea that maybe I wouldn't release anything; they'd all just be phone recordings, and that's all they would exist in, except if you were doing stuff live. You know, like, where are you with all that? Like,
well, that's an interesting point, because I definitely feel like for about a year, because all the stuff that's been happening in Palestine and everything, I couldn't really write. I got like really in a bad place of being unable to create anything, because I just felt like it was all completely worthless, you know. And then after a while, I was kind of like, I was getting into a dark spot, you know. So, but I kind of came to a lot of him and hawing that basically creating stuff, like you say, whether or not you're going to release it, creating stuff is really important for just to give yourself a reason to stay alive. You know, you got to scratch that itch. And I think then I kind of understand now that is actually the stuff that is really helps you to heal your soul. And maybe it's a tiny little light in the darkness of the place we're all in at the moment. And so therefore, yeah, you basically have to do it. Like it's not, it becomes, I think, especially if you're doing it as long as I am, and you're not quite as long, but maybe in a few years, because it's like you kind of almost like a sort of a compulsion that you basically have to do it. You know, you just kind of, no matter whether it's successful or not, you just have to do it, and that's your kind of like, that's your vocation. And you know, it's cool when you just embrace that idea, and just, it's kind of liberating and really a nice feeling. And I think then you start making good shit, you know?
Yeah, I suppose that's the thing about being an artist. Your internal motivations change, and then your external motivations change. And
big time.
The quality of the music, whatever the motivation is, it doesn't actually affect it. You can make great music if it's, you know, pushed by money. You can make great music if it's pushed by personal circumstance. And it's just kind of like a cycle that goes around. And if you're lucky, you catch it at the right time. I'm guessing you're in the middle of that at the moment.
I'm having a great time at the moment making music. Like, I wasn't for so long, so I really, and because I wasn't for so long, I'm really appreciating it. and I'm able to like really embrace the creative process again. I mean, it's like I'm just one of them. I am one of those artists that basically just doesn't. I can't just keep lashing out. I notice with a lot of young artists these days, they're lashing stuff out like and of high quality. Like it's like the Beatles, the way they did everything in 7 years or whatever. That sort of mentality seems to be coming back with a lot of young artists, where they're putting out amazing EP, then they're doing an album, and then like a year and a half later, another album is coming out and stuff. And it's like fascinating to me. It's amazing, but I can't do it. Like I just personally cannot do it. I'm like 3 or 4 years takes me to go through the process of finding stuff, and it's not exactly the most commercially viable way of doing things, but it's the only way I can do things personally. Like, so that's the way it is.
Yeah, well, I suppose where it kind of comes alive is the gigs and the shows and the festivals like HIBERNACLE that were coming up. So is HIBERNACLE, is that going to be an opportunity to play a greatest hits? Is that an opportunity to play some mad new stuff that you're really excited about, or is it a mix of both?
I want to play stuff. I really want to have a connection with an audience, because I have just been literally in the studio working alone for so long in all the different aspects of everything I do, and I miss like connecting with people. And then I think as well, stuff I'm doing now is the first time in ages that I've done sort of like upbeat stuff, but it's kind of like angry shit in a way. I don't know how to describe it really, but I want to try out some of that. Definitely want to try that out live, but obviously then it's a kind of a semi-festival thing on the Friday, so you got to do some of the older tunes as well. But mainly just looking forward to playing, to be honest with you, and working on a set. Like whenever I work on a set, I always kind of engineer it for the particular gig that it is. So I try and engineer something entertaining, hopefully.
Well, that sounds...
I've never seen Pillow Queens or Alva Red alive, and that's who I'm playing with on the Friday, so I'm looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah, no, I mean, talking about that, like, looking forward to seeing a set of Jape tunes, which is like upbeat and angry. It just sounds absolutely ideal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one, isn't it? Like sometimes you go to places with your music where you just have to go there, and like sometimes in the past when I've done some of the upbeat stuff, it does well, and then the next couple of things I do are really depressing, slow shit, and it's like, what are you doing here? But I mean, you just have to kind of go with where you are, and it's got to be honest, and that's it basically. But and the good part of that is, I think that you eventually come around to that other people think is good as well, hopefully.
Oh yeah, no.
Eventually, it just takes about 15 years, but you get there.
Looking forward to it. No, I on our last album we had one song left to write. He said, you need to write the most upbeat song for the album. We went away and we accidentally wrote the saddest, most beautiful song we ever wrote, and I suppose that's what happened. And we tried didn't work that way, but that's good. I'm really
what it is, Kieran, this is the one thing I'm starting to realise. You can't really guide it yourself. Like you have to be guided. You're not the one in charge, basically. That's the way it is. If you're going to be doing the good shit, no matter whether it's upbeat, downbeat, whatever, I think that you just have to follow whatever it is, And I think the shit that's bad comes when you try to fight against that instinct, If you don't go without thinking, once you start thinking, you're screwed,
Yeah, no. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, I'm really, really excited to go and see you on the Friday night at HIBERNACLE. Brand new intimate 3-day music festival coming to Orla House in Rathfarnham, July 4th to 6th. And we're going to see you there. Thank you so much, Richie.
Thanks so much, Kieran. Have a lovely evening.
Yeah, I will do. And yourself, looking forward to it. This is a bit more Richie. This is the classic stuff we were talking about. This is Fill In It by Jape on Radio Nova.
The Nova Guest List Podcast with Kieran McGuinness. The very best in indie, alternative and homegrown music from the seriously addictive Radio Nova.